In John chapter 15, Jesus speaking to his disciples, says, "No one has greater love than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends." We go through life longing to be loved, longing to find this love that accepts us unconditionally. And yet we even have difficulty giving that kind of love. A love that's unconditional, which exists in spite of our faults and failures. And yet we set expectations and vary our love according to what we receive. We fail others, and then we expect the forgiveness of others. But we ourselves are not so quick to forgive. We want people to do for us, but we are not always the first in line to do for others, to see a need, to leap at the opportunity. We are reluctant to love. There was a woman who once anointed Jesus with a very expensive perfume. The scriptures say she lavished it upon him. A lavish love. A love that spares nothing, not even one's life. No one has greater love than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. Jesus laid down his life for us. And yet that love wasn't first revealed when he was nailed to the cross. That love began the day he took on human flesh, the day he was born a baby, the day he became vulnerable, a helpless babe, dependent upon another to care for needs that he never had known before. His love was revealed every day of his ministry, every time he reached out and healed someone else, every time he journeyed to a sick person's side, every time he taught the crowds, every time he spoke intimately with his disciples. His love was revealed. Every time he delivered someone from the demons that tormented them, every time he conversed one-on-one with the Samaritan woman, with Zacchaeus, with Nicodemus. And now, this night, the night that he's going to be arrested, and he knows he's going to be arrested, and he knows he's going to die. This night, he shares the Passover meal with his disciples, his friends, and this night, before the meal, Jesus washes feet. You think they would have thought, or he would have thought, they would have been treating him, being that it was his last night. And it's not enough that he washes feet. It's not enough that Jesus had to die. But on the night before his death, he descends, or shall we say ascends, to the depths of servanthood. In his living, he ascends. The one whom the disciples called Master is now servant. After washing their feet, he teaches his final lesson. He turns to them and he says, "Very truly I tell you, no servant is greater than his master, nor is a messenger greater than the one who sent him. Now that you know these things, you will be blessed if you do them. In order to love, I must serve. In order to love, we must become servants of one another. Servants in this world. Loving is serving. Loving is equivalent to serving, and vice versa. Loving is looking out for one another. Loving is putting the other first. Loving is giving of self. Every day Jesus lived, he lived giving himself. Are we sure we want to follow in the footsteps of that Jesus? And yet, Jesus' words to the disciples are, "Do as I do." Do what I do. Again, from our passage from the Gospel of John, Jesus speaks, "Now that I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also should wash one another's feet. I have set you an example that you should do as I have done for you. Now, some denominations, they've established a sacrament of foot washing. A sacrament, the same as we honor the sacrament of Holy Communion, they have holy foot washing. It's just as sacred. We as the United Methodist Church do not hold foot washing as a sacrament, but we do have it as in a place in our liturgy. This night, this Maundy, Thursday, this night that Jesus said, do this, do as I have done. Tonight we're not washing feet, so don't, be kind of looking for your exit strategy. But we're going to wash hands. A little simpler logistically, and perhaps a first step in that direction, I don't know. But maybe even our hands are dirtier than our feet tonight. Because we don't go around barefoot in sandals on dusty, dirty roads anymore. We've traded in our sandals for shoes. We've traded in our pathways for sidewalks paved. And we've traded in probably walking by foot or by donkey for our cars. So maybe it's just our hands that need washing tonight. As the disciples washed their feet before the meal in our homes, what do you do right before you eat? You wash your hands. What do you do before you prepare a meal? You wash your hands. What do you say to your kids when they come in the door from school? Go wash your hands. Get the dirt of the day off. Get the germs that were all over the school, get them away. We don't want them here. Wash your hands. I was taught to do foot washing after communion because it wasn't like really appetizing to touch bread after you touched feet. We're going to do the same thing tonight. We're going to have communion and then we're going to wash our hands. After you receive communion, you may kneel at the altar rail and then you may go. There are basins on each side, and there will be 2 stations. You can go either way. There are basins that after you kneel at the altar, you may go to a basin, wash your hands. There are paper towels there that you may dry your hands, and a trash can right there beside it. But picture this. As you wash, picture Jesus. Remember Jesus. Jesus who kneeled and washed not just one disciple's feet, but all of the disciples' feet. Jesus kneeling before you. Jesus doing the most humble job, the job of a servant, on the night he's to be arrested, on the night before he dies. Picture the dust and the dirt and the germs of this world, maybe not literally, but that we pick up upon our souls as we go through our daily routines, our daily lives. Jesus washes us clean. Jesus then sends us forth to serve. He sends us forth to share the good news of his cleansing work. He sends us forth as his friends, to be friends. He sends us forth not to be served, but to serve. He sends us forth to love one another with a love that is willing to lay down one's life. No one has greater love than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. This is the word of the Lord. Thanks be to God.